So, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for participating. Today is actually part two in a series that we did. If you came to part one, it was our general About Avenues presentation. So, an opportunity to learn how the program works, just a little bit about the cost of the program, how we keep people in their homes, etc. And then today is actually an opportunity to meet part of our Avenues team. We actually have our Avenues Executive Director, Paige Hendrickson, here today with us. Paige will give a little wave now. Welcome. And so we really are here to kind of gain some understanding from her about what is it like to be an Avenues member? Why are people choosing the Avenues program to age at home? And so she's here really to share that expertise today. So we'll do a quick starting point. And I should say, my name is Caitlin. I've met most of you. My name is Caitlin Mills. I'm the sales advisor for this program. My background is in social work, and I've been a part of the Avenues team for a few years now, and I really love this program. So it makes it very easy for me to talk about Avenues with you. So let's do, if you weren't able to come to our part one event this week, I want to do a quick recap on what is the Avenues program. We're not going to go super in depth today because really we're here to hear Paige talk. But the Avenues program is what's called a continuing care at home program. You will see other programs like Avenues throughout the United States. We were actually the 13th continuing care at home program to open in the United States. It's a program that Porter Hills, now called Brio Living Services, opened back in 2011. And at the time, we were on the cutting edge, if you will, for this type of program. We are actually still the only continuing care at home program here in West Michigan. So we are the only ones, the only community offering this type of option, the option of, hey, if you want to stay home, you should be able to do that, and let us help you do that successfully. So the biggest component of this program is you get to age where you want to age and how you want to age. There's a lot of flexibility as an Avenues member to do that. And most of our members are choosing us because they are interested in aging in their home. There is another component of the Avenues program that has to do with something we like to call asset protection. What does that mean? Well, that means that when you join the Avenues program, the cost of your care, the cost of your future care is included in your Avenues membership. So it's a wonderful way for people to be planful, to be thinking about the cost of future care, and to get care from Avenues through your Avenues membership at a capped cost, at an affordable cost. So our members have the peace of mind knowing as long as I'm a member in this program, no matter how much care I need, Avenues is covering the cost of that care. And then finally, a lot of folks are joining this program for the preventative health and wellness side of Avenues. Our goal is to really support you, to walk alongside of you as you're aging. And we really want to support you in your aging journey. And for a lot of our folks, that means supporting you through proactive health and wellness, encouraging you to pursue your own health and wellness goals. And we do that a number of different ways. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. So the biggest, most important part of Avenues, it's pretty simple, is really our team. It's our expertise. We are, or we like to call ourselves, the experts in aging at home. We are knowledgeable. We have walked alongside of so many people. And Paige is going to talk about this today. She has been with the Avenues program since it opened in 2011. I have learned so much from her about aging at home. I've learned so much from her member navigators, which are the folks that you all would work with if you were an Avenues member. They really are knowledgeable and experts, if you will. So when you join Avenues, you're assigned to your own member navigator. This is actually a picture of one of our member navigators up here on the screen. This is Jessica. She was on an outing with one of the gals that she works with in our program. And our member navigators, they do a lot of relationship building with our members. When you join this program, you are not going to need care when you join the program because if you recall, this is a proactive approach to aging. You're joining Avenues before you need care, before you need support and assistance. So when you join, your member navigator really is here to build a relationship with you. Our team is a priority to us is building deep, long-lasting relationships with our Avenues members. So with that being said, I'm going to stop talking because none of you came today to hear me talk. You came to hear our executive director talk. So I want to introduce to all of you Paige Hendrickson. She has been the Avenues executive director, or is the Avenues executive director. And like I mentioned, she was actually a part of the founding team for this program. She has been with Avenues since its inception. She knows so much about supporting you as you're aging. She has extensive clinical knowledge, and I'm going to turn it over to her. Paige, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to everyone. It's so nice to see your faces. I'm glad you have your cameras on. And thank you in advance for your time to hear more about Avenues.
Yeah. Paige, let's just start. Would you share a little bit about your professional background and about why did you choose Avenues? Why are you on this team?
I think Avenues kind of chose me more than anything. My professional background includes hospital nursing. I'm a registered nurse by trade. I spent 17 years at St. Mary's, now called Trinity Health, working in the intensive care, the neurotrauma units, and the step-down units. So I have extensive hospital background. I spent a few years consulting with managed health plans while I was raising my children at home. And then in 2008, joined Porter Hills in a different role, but was then called into the Avenues program as Porter Hills looked at an opportunity to serve people where they want to be served. So many people don't want to move into a retirement community, but we didn't offer at that time an option for those that wanted to stay at their home. And our CEO in 2010, 2011 said, most people have a plan. They say, carry me out feet first. This is where I want to stay. And how are we going to best serve those people that want to stay in their home? And that's when Avenues was developed.
Yeah. I have been over the years, I've known you actually even before I was with Porter Hills. I met Paige at my last job when I was a brand new social worker in the fields. Um, and one thing that I have been, I mean, there are many things that I admire about you, but one of the things that I hear a lot of our members talk about, and even our member navigators, is just your experience navigating medical systems here in Grand Rapids. You've been a nurse for so long. And when our members start talking about, oh, yeah, I see this doctor, I have to see this specialist, you oftentimes are like, I know them. I've worked with them before. They're a great doctor. You're in great hands. And that's such a valuable thing on our team. So I've appreciated that so much about your background.
Well, I also think part of the role of Avenues is translation services because
Yes.
I equate the current medical system as being a foreign country. If I all of a sudden got dropped into France, I wouldn't know the language, I wouldn't know the culture, I wouldn't know the nuances involved in living there. And I feel like the healthcare system nowadays is almost like a foreign country. There's acronyms we don't know. There's different specialties that didn't even exist 10 years ago. If you have an eye problem, there's probably 8 different specialists only for the eye, and different specialists cater toward those different problems for the eye. But that's just an example of being a really confusing time is if you're bumped specialist to specialist, sometimes that's hard to figure that out. So having someone alongside you that can help with those translation and direction and even taking notes during an appointment, I think is really a valuable asset.
Yeah, and I think you're highlighting really well just the advocacy piece of this program. We're going to talk, one of my questions later is actually more about this, but the advocacy piece is huge for Avenues, is equipping our members to feel like they really are understanding what's going on with them health-wise so that they can advocate for themselves. And then we are also there to advocate for you as an Avenues member. Yeah. So let's start with this first question. We'll start here. So, Paige, in your professional opinion, what are some of the common challenges in the course of your career that you've experienced when it comes to people aging? What challenges do you see people facing?
Some of the biggest challenges people face are just physical frailty. And some of that comes with diagnosis, some come from medications, some come from not being proactive in their approach of keeping moving. You know, the infamous saying of an object at rest stays at rest and an object in motion stays in motion. We find that for the body as well. And people that aren't active throughout the course of their life often tend to slow down, and that becomes a physical challenge. There's also the challenge of grief and loss. In a later season of life, it's people lose their spouses, they lose significant others, they lose some of their friends. That's a challenge of aging. And then geographical distance of some of the support systems. So if children move away and you lose some of that support system, those are some of the biggest challenges.
Yeah. Carrie, I'm going off script, which I always say I'm not going to do, but that piece that you just touched on, the grief and loss piece, is so interesting. That's something that I've seen you support a lot of our Avenues members with over the years, right? You're with them when their spouse passes. That's huge. Do you have any comments on that or anything to share about that?
Well, with a long-term relationship, some of our members have been members since 2012. And you begin as strangers, and throughout the course of life happening, now we're into the 13th year of a relationship, you become quite close and you get to know people's family and their friends and their support system. So when a big event happens, or even as some little events happen, we like to be alongside just to provide that support.
Yeah, yeah, that's huge. And something that I think a lot of our members have experienced if they've experienced some type of grief or some type of loss throughout their membership. Um, so this next one's kind of fun. This is a common quote that I get from folks when they're thinking about, I don't need Avenues, I don't need anything because my kids are going to care for me. You've heard this over the course of your career as well. Thoughts on this? Why is this challenging, or what are some of the challenges that I think folks run into with this?
The biggest challenge is the different expectations between kids and parents. And
Interesting.
um, a lot of uh, people that say that, I question, have they talked to their kids about that? Are the kids available? I mentioned earlier about geographic distance. Of I know for my kids, we're empty nesters now, and our children live in different parts of the country, and that would be logistically challenging for them to support us, my husband and I, as we age. Kids are often raising their own kids and involved in jobs. So there again, that becomes a greater ask for the kids if they have to figure out how to support mom or dad and keep a job and support their children. And then it really boils down to personal preference.
Yeah, that's interesting. And we've talked before about this idea of you also just don't know what you don't know. And Kids, well, very well intended, if they say, yeah, of course we've got you, mom and dad. We're going to care for you. We're going to figure these things out. There are just so many components of aging. There's so many components of care. You've seen this with people. I know you have.
Well, it really has come to mind about preserving family relationships. I don't want to give the impression that we're here to take over the family or um, elbow people out if they want to provide support for their parent or their loved one. But if we can augment what that family relationship is, then that's best in all worlds. We had one of our first Avenues members in 2012 had three children. All three children lived within like 2 miles of where this woman lived. So she said, I think my kids are going to help me. But the kids, after she joined Avenues, the kids came to us and said, we are so not involved in medical and we don't want to be involved with mom's personal care. I love my mom, but I don't want to have to help her shower. That they asked for a distinct difference so that they could continue their family relationship and we would provide the care and the support medically. So in this instance, we would take their mom to doctor's appointments. We would set up her med boxes. We provided support for her as she aged. And the kids remained the kids. So the daughter they go out for lunch, they go shopping at Talbot's together. They would go to Frederick Meyer Garden often together. And the daughter didn't feel like she had to have a to-do list of, Mom, did you take your meds? Mom, did you have a shower? Mom, did you do your laundry? That was all taken care of, and she could preserve that relationship. That to me is one of the most satisfying parts of the job, is that we are able to augment what the family is wanting to do.
Yeah. And talk about building relationships. I mean, just today, I don't know if I should share this, but I will. Just today, you went and saw one of the daughters of our an Avenues member who has passed. When did she pass? I don't know what year,
4 years
but
ago.
4 years ago. But you literally went to see one of her daughters today because you've built this long-term relationship with this daughter, and you were able to just cherish these memories of her mom, this Avenues member of ours. Like, what a cool thing that you didn't just have a relationship with the Avenues member, but with the entire family. Yeah, that's so cool. All right, Paige, what about this one? So another thing that people a lot of times will say to us is, I'm not going to need anything as I age. And so why would I need Avenues? Why would I need anything? I'm not going to need care. I'm not going to need anything. And this is funny. I think we all have heard of one or two people in our lives who didn't need anything. They passed away peacefully in their sleep. Um, in your nursing experience, what have you seen with this?
I think that's all of our plan, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all of our hope.
It's all of our hope. I'm going to die in my sleep. Um, but the reality is that the longer we live, the more medical diagnosis we receive because medical care has grown exponentially. And the more we look for things, the more we find things. So medical diagnoses often increase with age. And with those medical diagnoses or physical infirmity, then care support is needed. Statistically, 7 out of 10 people in their later years in life are going to need some level of support. Now, some level of support is pretty broad. So is that errand running or is that a nursing home? What level of support will each of us need? Obviously, we don't know that. We don't have the crystal ball. But in the Avenues program, we plan for people to need some type of support later in life. And that if we plan for that, we always say we plan for the worst and hope for the best. But our team members are available on an episodic, if somebody gets COVID was a busy time. when people weren't venturing out. So if someone got COVID, we were running to the pharmacy to get some pharmaceuticals for them to help them over their COVID symptoms. Um, we're available for that. And it's just a nice safety net for people. We have some people that say, don't call me, I'll call you. I just want to know you're there when I need you. And that's really what our goal is.
Yeah, and you're highlighting an interesting point with the Avenues program. I think some people view Avenues as this is just for really old people who are bedbound and need care. That is not at all what we're seeing in this program. In fact, a lot of our younger members who are still fully independent end up using some level of support from us. Just like you mentioned, Paige, we had people where we've had folks, like we had a couple actually. They told me this story that they both had COVID and their kids are local, but they called us and said, we're really sick. We've got these flu-like symptoms. We're in bed. We're exhausted. And their member navigator said, great, I'm coming over. I'm going to COVID swab you. Let's make sure that that's what it is. Let's get you some fluids. She brought Gatorade and she brought some food. So things like that's such a small thing, but it's actually a really big thing. It's a thing that a lot of our members utilize, which is great. Yeah. That actually brings us to kind of this next question, which is how are our healthy and independent members utilizing their membership? So if we recall, you have to qualify for Avenues, you have to be healthy and independent to get into the program. So for folks who are just joining this program, what are they benefiting from, if anything?
Mhm. Well, like I said earlier, we start out as strangers, but you develop a relationship with your member navigator. Your member navigator is your point person for all things avenues. We have a team of people and we rotate call throughout the weekend. So someone is available 7 days a week. It may not be your member navigator, but it's one of our team members that's available. And nothing ever happens Monday through Friday, health-wise. It's always at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning or 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. Our independent and healthy members like to call and bounce things off us. I was out doing yard work and I twisted my ankle. Do I have to go to ER? Those types of questions. A lot of times people need joint replacement surgeries. This isn't something that's going to compromise their life, but it's going to be a difficult recovery. And we provide that episodic support too. So an example would be a knee replacement surgery. You can come home the same day now from a knee replacement. Well, to manage your medications, manage your recovery by yourself at home is a difficult task that we would then provide that care support and have someone there with you for the first couple weeks, helping you making sure you eat, making sure your medications stay straight, and then also helping you physically if you need that.
Yeah,
Another aspect of our that our healthy and independent members utilize is our wellness benefit.
I was
And
just going to ask you about that.
because we like to be proactive and have people think about wellness, what does that look like to everybody is different. But we offer every month an opportunity for for our members to participate in a wellness activity. That could be a massage, that could be transportation to the airport, that could be meals delivered, it could be IT support. If you get a new TV, those smart TVs are smarter than I am, and I know to try to get those set up can be challenging. Those are the types of things that we offer anyone who's an Avenues member, and that you have a menu of options available every month.
So we really give you money each month to spend. What is the most unique way that an Avenues member has spent their wellness benefit?
Ooh, the most unique. We had one gentleman who likes to listen to books on tape. And he's active. He has a 3 acre yard and he manages his yard work, but he likes to listen to books on tape. And we paid for his Audible subscription.
Genius.
Another unique way we have paid for our piano lessons. We have a
Oh,
rep
I was going to bring that one up. Yeah.
who's taking piano lessons, and we pay for those piano lessons every month.
So fun. Yeah, so there's some flexibility too, right? We want this to be catered to the member. This program is just not a one size fits all. It's a let us come into your life and cater this to you, which is kind of cool. Very
Very,
cool.
very personalized.
Yeah. Paige, this reminds me, one of our member navigators, Jessica, I found out recently that she has been doing a series of, her background is she's a personal fitness trainer or certified personal fitness trainer. And she's been doing a series of videos for some of her members who've requested it on different exercises, strength training exercises they can do from home. And she sent me one of the videos and I was amazed. I had no idea she was doing that.
She's very creative with her opportunities for people to exercise, and she's very passionate about it. And she will send these little videos and snippets about the correct posture, whatever that exercise is. And then she'll also go to people's homes to exercise with them.
I heard that. She's told me all about it. She's amazing. It's just creative. I think we're very good at finding creative solutions for our members. If you express a desire to us or something that you want to learn more about or a way in which you want to, just change something health-wise in your life, like our team is really good about finding creative ways to solve those things, which is cool. Yeah. Well, that brings us to my next question, which is what is it like to work with a member navigator? What about when you first join the program? What is it like to meet? You typically go out to the member's home and you introduce them to their member navigator. What is that like?
I do. I get to know all of our applicants, working with Caitlin, and we'll often, after an applicant has made that application, then we do a medical record preview. And then as part of that application process, Caitlin and I meet with each of you, and I get to know you a little bit better through that visit. And then when someone is approved, then they're assigned a member navigator. And that member navigator and I then go out to the home, do the introductions, and there's some paperwork involved, like any program. We like to have the HIPAA form signed so that we know who we can talk to in your family about any type of medical concerns. And then we build a relationship. So it starts off like a first date. What do you like? What's your goals? Who are you? What has been your experience in life? What are some of your concerns? What do you need help with currently? Do you have questions about your health? It's like a first date. And the first 3 months of an Avenues membership, you'll probably meet with your member navigator about 5 times.
And that 5 times is again a lot of like relationship building stuff, which is awesome. Um, yeah, what types of personalities, Paige? We've got a few just fun member navigators, but what types of personalities do we have on our team?
Well, for our member navigator base, we use a multidisciplinary approach. If we were all medical, I look at everything through a medical lens. Caitlin, as a social worker, would look at life through a different lens, one that would be more, I don't know, how would you describe that, Caitlin? More
Person-centered, a little bit more.
person-centered.
Yeah.
And that's our goal, is to be multidisciplinary. Because if I look at everybody through a medical lens, I'm looking at things like disease and infirmity, whereas a certified personal fitness trainer would look at what you are currently and what you can be with some strengthening and conditioning. So we really use a multidisciplinary approach. We have LPN, an RN, social worker, and the certified personal fitness trainer on our team.
Here's a question that we get, Paige. What if I don't like my member navigator?
That's why we
What?
have a multidisciplinary team.
Yeah. When we do events in the public, and you've heard this as well, I think every single time at least one person says, but what if I hate my navigator? And I always say, well, that's why we have a team. We could find someone else for you. But I don't think we've ever had anyone actually ask to change navigators.
We've never had that.
Which they could, but we've got a pretty good track record. We hire really lovely people, which is all you. It's all you. But speaking of which, so you kind of answered this next question. What types of people do you hire for the member navigator role? What are you looking for when you're looking for a navigator?
We're looking for professionalism, passion, passion for wellness, passion for proactive approach in many things in life, because a lot of our members are proactive. People that join Avenues generally are planners. They like to know that they have a plan if and when they need it for care support. Um, all of the things that you can't teach someone is what we look for when we hire people. Are they happy? Are they consistent? Are they trustworthy? Those are the top, that's what we look for. And then some of their professional background also to mesh with that. All of our current member navigators are certified wellness coaches as well. And that is helpful if someone's trying to make a change in their life. Do I want to lose weight? Do I want to learn more about my medications? We're trained for that.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it was actually this past spring, I shadowed one of our navigators. Her name is Princess. I shadowed her when she had a meeting with two of our longtime members. And I just got to watch some of the things that she was doing with them. Very unique situation. This member has a visual difficulty. She has a hard time seeing. And so Princess was doing a lot of trying to figure out, well, how can we keep you as independent as possible, which was a goal for this woman. And so Princess was helping her. How can we rearrange things in your kitchen so they're easy? How can we make sure that your medications are really easy to find, really easy to navigate? So I was just really impressed in the ways that she wasn't just doing things for the member. She was really asking, what's your goal with this? And then how can we find a solution to keep you independent with these day-to-day tasks? Because that's what you want. And that I think our team does a really great job with that.
Yeah, in
Not
that
just,
situation with minimal vision, Princess was able to put some rubber sticky pads on the washer and dryer so that she wouldn't, our member would know where to turn the dial, so she would remain independent with her with laundry. Just
man, that's amazing. It's so simple. And yet you wouldn't think I don't even know that I would think to do something like that, but she just has so much experience with how can we find solutions for this, right? That's amazing. That's so great.
technology helps too. So and this member has a iPhone, so then setting it up so that the iPhone can read all of the texts that come in, and then she does voice to text um, when responding to a text. So she's fully independent with use of her phone without really being even able to see it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so great. We kind of talked about this too already, Paige. I keep getting ahead of myself, but what is it like for family members to work with the member navigator? We talked about this, but what does this look like logistically, I
Mhm.
guess?
Every family is different. Every family has their own dynamics, and we look to the member to help navigate that. So some family members really want to jump in there and help with all things medical. If someone's daughter is a nurse, then by all means, let's partner together. I said earlier, we're not there to elbow out any family members. We're there to partner with and augment any support.
Yeah. And even just like logistically speaking, like if we had an Avenues member that was in the hospital and maybe a member navigator is there with them, I've even heard you talk about offering to the member, would you like us to update your family? Like, do you want me to text your daughter and make sure that they know what's going on? Even just those really small things, the communication piece can be really helpful. Yeah. Why might our Avenues members want their member navigator to attend medical appointments or surgeries? And I asked this question today because people ask me this a lot. And they say, well, gosh, when I joined this program, like I'm 73. I don't need someone to babysit me and come to a doctor's appointment with me. How is this playing out in real life? Are people actually using this part of the program? And can you give some examples if so?
Sure, sure. Yes, people are using this part of the program because a lot of when we go to doctor's appointments, we think in our minds, oh, I have this question to ask, this question to ask, this questions to ask. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but when you get to the doctor, you can't remember any of those questions. So it's helpful to have someone with you that can take notes, but that can you can also talk to ahead of time and say, here's a list of questions. If I forget to ask them, would you remind me to ask? It's also, I mentioned it earlier, the confusion of the jargon and the abbreviations and the different medical specialists. We can take those notes and then help decipher that either during or after the appointment. An example of that was we had a gentleman who joined Avenues last December. Healthy, strong, independent gentleman. And in April, he had a doctor's appointment and was diagnosed with a blood cancer. And just like that, his world changed. All of a sudden, he had an oncologist, he had a hematologist, he was undergoing weekly chemo treatments. His world changed on a dime 4 months after he joined Avenues. His member navigator, his family all lived out of town, and his member navigator was able to attend those appointments and then distribute that information to the family. And the family was then able to support him without him having to say, oh, I have to tell my family what happened at the doctor's appointment. The member navigator provided transportation to and from those chemo because as he got the chemo, he got weaker. And he's now almost a year, 6 months into that, and his chemo regime is now changed to every other week. So he's feeling a little bit stronger. Last week was the first week he drove to the chemo appointment himself, but the member navigator attends the oncology appointments and then distributes that information to the family.
Yeah. This makes me think too, Paige, we have another longtime member. I think she was one of the first members in Avenues, but she has explained before, I think it was a while ago, I think she had bronchitis. And she is a doctor by background, like she has the clinical knowledge and experience. You would think that something like this is not something that she would utilize, but the story she shared is, hey, I still used Paige. I called Paige up and said, listen, I don't feel good. I need someone to go with me to these appointments. And it was eye-opening for me. I really thought, okay, if you have a medical background, yeah, you probably don't need this. Or we've had a lot of nurses come to my presentations, and afterwards the nurses will say, well, I'm a nurse and I don't really need this because I have the knowledge, I know the systems, I know the jargon, I get it. But even when you don't feel good, when you're under the weather, when your body hurts, when you are sleep deprived, it's so helpful to have someone with you. And that's exactly what this member explained to me, which I thought was really eye-opening.
Um,
I want to go
just
ahead.
one more example would be for colonoscopies.
Oh, sure.
Colonoscopies, you have to prep the day before, but then you also need a driver to sit during the whole colonoscopy and then drive you home and get you settled. So that's an opportunity for instead of your kids driving you to the colonoscopy and taking a half a day off work, that's something that the member navigator could do.
Yeah. Paige, I want to ask too, someone asked recently about this, and they said, well, we're a couple thinking about this program together. And while we have each other, when would we need this type of support? Do you have couples in the program that even utilize this, or what does that look like?
We have couples that utilize it, and again, this is very personalized. So if they want to go to each other's appointments, that's fine. We're not here to interfere with that dynamic. We're just here to support what you need. We have some
Sure.
couples where one is a member and one is not, um, for health reasons or for other reasons. Then we're we care about how that spouse is doing if that spouse who's not a member is having some health issues. So there's a little bit of opportunity for that member to get some support as a primary caregiver as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's great. Um, Paige, can you give an example of, we're talking a lot about short-term support. Can you give an example, and you've kind of already given a few, but give an example of what does it look like to get short-term support from Avenues?
Short-term support classically is the knee replacement or a hip
A lot
replacement
of those.
or foot surgery or COVID. That we've had a lady lived um, just outside of Grand Rapids and had a really bad case of COVID and just didn't feel good. Her kids lived all over the nation and weren't able to come be with her. We were able to pull in some short-term support for her, get her back on her feet, get her to the doctor. Um, and we were in the house maybe 5 days
Wow. Yeah.
providing that support.
Yeah. You have, fun little fact, you have provided some short-term support to people in other countries. Can you share about that?
Well, we have a
Are
lot
we
of
turning
Avenues
into an
members.
international program?
Well, we have a lot of Avenues members who travel,
Okay.
and we always say that we're available by phone anytime. And we've had those phone calls of, I'm in Portugal and I fell and broke my wrist. Now what do I do? And it's more, we're not pulling in people to provide the support internationally, but we're available to help troubleshoot. We had a couple that flew to Spain. They called me when they landed and they said, good news, we're in Spain. Bad news is we developed COVID on the way over and they tested positive. Can you look up and Google what Spanish decongestants are so I can go to the pharmacy? Um, we had another couple that fell in the UK and ended up with an injury and was treated in the UK. And then how best do I get home? Those are the types of questions we've fielded internationally.
Fun. We're waiting for someone to fly us out to be with members internationally. That hasn't happened yet, but we're hoping. We're hoping one day that we'll get to go to
So,
Spain to see
some
someone.
people ask, what if I'm a snowbird? What if I spend 6 months of the year outside of Michigan? Can I still be an Avenues member? And the answer for that is yes. And we're available by phone, but to receive care, you'll need to be in the Grand Rapids area.
Yeah, great point. Yeah. Um, can you give an example then of the long-term support or end of life support of this program? Can you paint a picture of what does that look like or what could
Sure.
that look like?
Sure. Not too long ago, we had a healthy 70-year-old 74-year-old woman who got a sudden cancer diagnosis and it was terminal. And she was a physician herself, and she talked to us about her wishes. So, our goal for Avenues is to fulfill your wishes and advocate for you. And she knew that her end of life was sooner than she had wanted. And we had a long talk about what does hospice look like? What does palliative care look like? And that to me is important, and I'm quite passionate about it because not many people want to spend the end of their life cycling in and out of a hospital and say, I'd rather die peacefully at home. And all of the things that hospice offers people, Avenues can augment. So, hospice is a Medicare benefit. They cover the medical equipment, they cover prescriptions, they cover a doctor support, they cover nursing support. Avenues will provide the care 24 hours a day if you get weak and need that. So what hospice does and end-of-life palliative care does, Avenues doesn't. But what Avenues does, hospice does not. And we fit perfectly supporting our members that way in whatever that end of life looks like for them.
Yeah. This is reminding me, Paige, when I was first joined the organization, I shadowed you. You were going to meet some of your Avenues members, and you were having, and I remember this so vividly, but I got to just watch you. You were explaining to this couple because they just didn't know what the difference between hospice and palliative care was. And I think he was considering hospice at the time. And I was shocked at just how well you explained it. We do a lot of that, or you do a lot of that with members. Just when is the right time for this? What do you get with hospice? It's very hard sometimes to get, I think, those explanations and the time of day from medical personnel. Like your doctor might not have an hour to sit down with you and walk you through these things, but we do. Our team does. And that I think is really valuable for our members and for their families.
Well, and with long-term relationships, we talk a lot about what are your wishes,
Yeah.
not only for end of life, but day to day. What are your
Yeah.
wishes? Well, I want to remain active. I want to keep walking 3 miles a day. I want to be able to walk to my mailbox without getting short of breath. Whatever your goals are for that period of time, that's our goal for you as well.
Yeah, yeah. And we've had, I mean, you've had a number of members, or we've had a number of members where like a spouse passes in this program as an Avenues member. They get to just spend time together in those last weeks, months, days. And our team is running around behind the scenes, coordinating everything, calling providers, making sure meds are showing up, all of that so that you and your kids and your family get to be together. And what a difference that makes for that experience. All right, I think we're coming to our last question. Paige, as the executive director of this program, what is your hope for all of our Avenues members?
For our Avenues members, I'm really committed to be providing dignity and respect while partnering with our members and their family into the future, whatever that future holds. And then my hope for the Avenues program overall is that we offer an option to the greater Grand Rapids area for people who want to remain in their home.
Yeah, yeah, that's so great. Um, yeah, and I think our Avenues members are such unique people. I mean, we're biased, of course, because we care about all of them, but they are just such a unique group of people. And a lot of times people who are considering the Avenues program will say, I want to meet Avenues members. I want to see what these people are like. Are they people like me? Will I fit in? In fact, actually, I included we have an Avenues Facebook page, and some of our members are okay with us posting photos from events. So I'm going to share some of those now. But some of these folks have been in the program for ages and have been such great advocates for the program, which is awesome. This picture is actually from an event we did back in May. Some of our Avenues members spoke on a panel for us. You can see that I'm about 8 months pregnant there. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked I was even able to stand, let alone wear heels that day, but I survived. This is a fun one too. And you can find our Avenues Facebook page if you search Avenues by Breer Living Services. This, I think, was at our ladies' breakfast.
Mhm.
Yep, a few months ago. This is at our tailgate party. Back in the fall, it was like the most beautiful day. It was a tailgate and hike. So we are coming to a close today, and today I'm right on time. I wanted just to leave some opportunity for questions for Paige if you have them. Let's open it up right now. Does anyone have questions or comments? Linda, do you have unmute yourself if you're asking something? I think you're asking something. There we go.
Yes. I am. I thought that that meant that you had muted me. So anyway,
Oh,
here I am.
nope, you're
No,
here. We hear you.
that's right. I just want to thank you very much for taking the time and for the interest in what you're doing. Um, uh, I have said to people, I'd like to just stay in my home. And yet I get these things in the mail that say, come and join our community. And there may be a time when I'm ready for that or need to do that. But then it was just a few weeks ago that I got this in the mail about um, you're probably just waiting to get into a nursing home. And I thought, huh? And then I saw aging in place and I said, that's me. I had no idea there was even an opportunity or anybody even considering doing that. So it was just a big shot in the arm for me. And all that I'm learning, it sounds good. And thank you.
I like to
Well,
say that we follow people wherever they call home because we have had people that have joined Avenues in their family home they raised their kids in. Then they
Yeah.
downsize to a condo and we follow them there. If they move in with their daughter or move to a community, we follow them there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I
good
like that
flexibility.
too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Linda,
I'm
thanks
going
for
to
your
have to run.
comment.
I'm going to have to run. But thank you so much for um, getting this together and taking the time.
Thanks, Linda. We'll talk to you soon.
Nice to meet you,
Okay.
Linda.
Yes. Bye.
What
Can
other
you tell
questions do we have? Oh, hi,
can you
Ted. How
tell
are
me how
you?
many can you tell me how many navigators there are?
Yeah, so, well, I'll let Paige answer.
We currently have 3 navigators and 2 support staff.
Okay. And how long have they been on the job?
Well, I've been on the job since 2008 with Porter Hills. Princess has been on the job for 5 years,
Okay.
and Jessica has been on the involved in Avenues for the last year and a half, but it's her second time around at Porter Hills. She worked for Porter Hills prior to that.
Of all of the support functions that you described previously, are those all funded within the program or are they extra cost?
They're funded within the program.
Okay.
Everything we've talked about today, Ted, is part of your Avenues membership. So when we're talking about the support, the people, it's all part of it.
And making an investment in the program is not a minor investment. So I was concerned about your financial statement that you show you're at a loss as far as the financial integrity of the program.
And did you get those numbers from the disclosure statement?
Yeah, yeah,
I think a clarification would be in order with that. If you have that in front of
I
you,
do.
I have mine in front of me as well. You can see where it says, I just find that page.
Page 5.
Page 5, and it says other liabilities and then total liabilities.
Yep.
That's what usually raises a red flag. And the reason for that is that it's an unfunded revenue because we're mandated by the state to reserve funds in an escrow account. And
Okay.
this shows that we have almost $3 million, and those funds are reserved for future care of our members. And that's mandated by the state. It's confusing because in CPA language, you have to use it as a liability, but really it's the fund that's preserved for support for all of our members.
To support the program.
Yes.
Okay. I guess my other question this morning, I had an email that said entering the program by the end of the year to include a 5% discount.
That is
Yeah, Ted, that's a great question. So right now, when we have members or when we have residents within our community, join Avenues, we give them an internal resident discount of 5%. And we decided through the holidays to extend that to non-residents, which is really fun. We've never done it before, and we're doing it through January 1. So if you apply for the program with the intention of joining before the first of the year, then you would get to make use of that resident discount.
Okay. Good.
Great question. And I know, Ted, you've been working closely with Sandra, so she can follow up with you on that. I'll let her know. She can have a chat with you about more about that.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. What other questions are out there?
I don't have a question.
Hi, Karen. How are you? Oh, you muted yourself. We lost you.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
We got you.
Okay. I just want to thank you for this presentation. As the gentleman Ted said, it's an initial huge investment, so I need to discuss it with all the parties involved in my life. And I love the concept. The investment is the hesitation on my part. So,
Yeah, and Karen, this is not a free program, and it is a considerable amount of money to be considered. I mean, it's the idea here, or I think why people choose us, is if you have money set aside for your future aging, this would be the program that you're choosing to spend that money on, because all of your care would be included in this. So I think it's a very different concept. A lot of people think, well, I'm going to keep that money, I'm going to set it aside for one day when I need care. This is kind of the opposite. It's okay, join us. You're paying for your future care by joining, and then we're going to be your plan for the rest of your life. But you're right, it's something that you need to think about and consider and talk with your family about. Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's possible to just get a written estimate considering my specific, or do I have to apply to get that done, in other words?
You don't. And I know, Karen, we've emailed a little bit, but I will give you a call and we can talk about your specific prices if you'd like to do that. And then we will look at those numbers together.
Right. Well, I would want to bring it to my financial advisor, and that's what I'd like to be specific, and then also understand if I'm even qualified, because I have a lot of conditions.
Yeah, sure. I will share that a lot of times the best next step, and I'll put my contact information on this next slide. The best next step for folks is when you come to one of these presentations, to part 1 and part 2, and you've got a lot of questions after, the best next step is let's sit down in person. And at that in-person appointment is when I bring your pricing. It's when I bring our Avenues official documents that we use and some printed materials, so that then you can have those follow-up conversations with your financial advisor, your family, your spouse, etc.
Okay.
So I would encourage you, let's do that sometime soon so that you are equipped and have all the information that you need to make this decision.
Great. Thank you. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot.
you're welcome. Thanks.
I feel
questions?
Caitlin, I feel the same.
Great, Irene.
I appreciate all this information, and it all sounds pretty good. But I guess I'm at the point where the exact numbers are going to be important, and I will want to share those with my family.
Sure. Yeah. And so again, I would say the best next step is let's find a time to sit down one-on-one and we can look at all of that together.
Okay,
I
sure.
want you to feel really equipped and feel like you have all the information you need to make this decision.
Yep, that's good. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions today before we close? And if not, just know that I usually reach out to anyone that attends these afterwards anyways to say thanks for coming, and also to say, hey, what questions still remain? So don't be surprised if you get a phone call from me. And then if there are questions at that time, we can go through those together. So we'll come to a close here today. Thank you everyone for your time. Thank you for being here with us. And we wish you all a great holiday next week.